Yo, Still Spitting podcast is sponsored by Athletic Truth Group, a sports training gym in Clearwater, Florida that specializes in pound per pound strength through the deepest possible ranges of motion in order to bulletproof the joints while transforming athleticism and elasticity. The owner, Ben Patrick, claims that his new system of training is far superior for athletes than any other traditional programs out there, since they stem from powerlifting and bodybuilding and do not come close to covering the intricacies of the human body in relation to athleticism. Ben would love for you to check out his YouTube channel, Athletic Truth Group, where he is giving all his secrets away in daily YouTube videos, which are designed to give you real solutions you can immediately apply to your training. Still Spitting Podcast, episode 54. What's good? Stay aware, stay spinning in your head, in your mind, and stay conscious that we have no clue what's happening. So we talk here on this podcast about anything under the sun and beyond, and the universe, and within everything. So down to a cellular, molecular level. Okay, anyway, today we have my boy Clint on with NamaDunk. He created NamaDunk as a page for athletes, specifically dunkers, to help them understand the importance of stretching and kind of like a guide to how to get stretching going in your life and why it's important. So we talk about all the benefits today, how he got into it, how he got started with yoga, and all these different things. And I'm really excited to keep following his page because I have just learned how important mobility is in my strength training and my dunk training overall. And following him, I feel like would be a great way to learn about all the different moves and how to get things done. And it was just a great conversation. So check out his page, and hope you enjoy this conversation. I have a lot more podcasts coming soon with other guests and a lot more solo rants of me going off on the world and everything. And a lot more YouTube videos. I had a YouTube video today of my stretch journey starting as well. It was a dunk session I had today, but also I really wanted to just document how bad I am at flexibility. So it's actually perfect timing for this podcast. So I'm going to be working on my flexibility a lot. Dunking tomorrow, 10 feet and deep squats. Strength phase going strong, feeling better than ever. My technique was great today. Just a little fatigued overall from lifting, but if you listen to my other podcast with Daniel Back of Jump Science, he explained how strength training, you just build it up, and if you can maintain your vert, you're getting stronger with kind of the same vert. It's only going to make you better. So that's where I'm at right now. Sorry to ramble a little bit, but hope you enjoy this episode. If you do like this episode, you can support me in a lot of different ways. You could just like this video. You could subscribe to my podcast, rate the podcast, share the video, link it to your best friends, and that's about it. Thank you. All right, hope you enjoy. Still spinning, baby. Never stop, always in the track. Never getting off track. Whatever I lack, add it to my bag, and I got plenty more where that came from. And my price is right, I never change, bruh. Don't get it done right, and that's every day. That's living life. What's going on, Clint? Sorry, I just jumped right into it. So yeah. Yeah, man, we're here. Look, I got mine on too.
Yeah, NamaDunk life.
That's it, man. I'm super pumped to talk to you because I literally, it's funny because it's just that I just from talking to other guests and people that as I'm learning about my dunk training is that my mobility's always been horrendous, and you came around with this NamaDunk movement just in the right time for me. So I would just love to hear more about how you got into it.
Dude, absolutely. Kind of funny thing is I've been in the dunk game forever. So to kind of date myself, like I am 34, and so I was all into dunking, what I like to call the BT, which is before T-dub instead of B.
That's hilarious.
So that means like the cool people to watch was like High Riser and Springs, and like people were all about like Suave and Smooth and Henry Beckering and like Flying 101, and so like it was cool because with that I basically took every opportunity I could with dunking. So it's really cool. I actually was able to travel a lot with it. So with that, like I was in Sprite Slam Dunk contests in Dallas. And so, like, with that, Worm jumped up. I was one of the guys Worm jumped over.
That's awesome, dude.
And then I was in it in Atlanta. And so it was just really cool, And then I've been in, like, dunk shows with like Young Hollywood and Tyler Jukebox when he was still doing
nice, yeah.
And so it was great, but of course, that's a lot of jumping over the years, and I was horrible about stretching and taking care of my body. And so it's crazy. There was actually first time this was the first time it ever happened. Is I went to D Brown,
Okay.
D Brown.
Yep.
He a slam dunk camp. So just like dunk
really?
camp. It was. I found out about it through Slam magazine, like years ago, and this is actually when Dwight Howard still played for the Magic, and it was put on by D Brown and JumpUSA.com.
Wow.
Who made jump soles. So, horrendous thing about that camp is it was 3 days.
Okay.
Of nonstop plyometric training.
I was gonna ask, like, how was their like training methods back then? They probably didn't know anything about knee health or anything.
So it's like you're doing like all this, hopping around in your jump soles. Like, all right, don't put on your jump soles, and we're all doing these skips and stuff. And the stupid thing is, like, up to that point, I was flying. Like, I actually showed up at that gym before the camp actually started and had a mini session before anyone showed up, and like was just having fun. Like, I was doing pretty much anything I wanted to, and just feeling great. And then the camp started, and then like I was just day after day, and after by day 2, I was feeling it in my knees.
I bet, yeah.
I was like, this sucks. And like it was weird because in my hotel room I had a hot tub in there, so I'd like sit in there right after the camp for like an hour, and I was constantly just doing all I knew what to do, which at that time was a quad stretch. Yeah. I would just grab my heel and try and bring it up. Never did a single thing with my hip flexors during that time frame because I didn't know. I thought, oh, my knee hurts, I need to stretch my quad.
Right.
And so because of that, like, sure enough, that I just kept doing that, but then I just kept trying to push myself. At the end of the camp, Dwight Howard shows up.
What?
Hey guys, and it's like, oh, it's Dwight Howard, and it's like, all right, let's see what you learned from this camp. So I'm like, oh, sweet. So I do an off the bounce, off the glass, which you do all that stuff. So I'll go off the bounce, off the glass. When I jump, my patella I just feel a pop, and I'm just like, oh. And the stupid thing is, I still caught it and dunked it. But I came down and I was just like, I'm done. And I was freaking seriously like limping around the airport and just in miserable pain. And I did physical therapy after, and it just sucked because like it actually happened again. Because with physical therapy, they never did a single thing for my hip flexors. Instead, it was just, let's make your knee stronger. And I'm like, okay, what is that? But I was younger at the time, and I didn't know that making your knee stronger was complete BS, because honestly I truly believe that now, because your knee is a joint. Bones don't get stronger unless they have more calcium. And there's not a lot of muscle right here. This is just tendons, and there's actually not even blood flow that goes through there compared to other parts of your body. And so but unfortunately, it just was a lot of rest, and that initial PT time, I was able to get back to it eventually, where I was at that level again, feeling great. And then actually a few years later, it sucked because it was the dunk. I had a dunk, a dunk day, just like, you have. And it was actually the last dunk day I had right before my first little girl was born. And same thing freaking happened. I was feeling great. I went for a lefty cuff and off my left, and when I jumped, bam, I felt that same pop, and I partially have torn my patella twice, and excruciating pain. But the thing is, I've never had surgery. That's something where usually you feel a pop, something that, especially when it's that extreme, you go, oh, I need to get this looked at, and so I did. I actually went to a physical therapist right after the second time it happened. And he's like, well, and he felt around, and he's like, well, it might be partially torn, but, you for sure have jumper's knee, and you need one of these. And he instantly gave me a freaking knee strap. He's like, all right, there you go. You're stuck with that for the rest of your life, basically. and I was like, are you kidding me? Because at that point I didn't know anything else. And so from that point on, I jumped with the knee strap
Right.
for, she's 5 now. And so for like years and
Yeah.
years. And the thing is, this didn't make everything go away.
Hmm.
And I was so sick. I was like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. And so at the time, I actually was living with my dad before I got married, and he had a Denise Austin yoga
Okay.
DVD. So Denise Austin, if you know, it's like, she's like so funny because she's like this, like, hey
Yeah, yeah.
everybody, like, and like it's just like the super old school, like Jane Fonda-ish kind of thing, like with the music. But I'm like, it's yoga. I'm like, I'll
Yeah.
try this, whatever. And I freaking tried it, and dude, seriously, no lie, like I started to feel better because she was putting me in a warrior pose, and I was holding that, and I was like, oh wow, oh my hips,
Right.
and like it was just something that I never even knew
Hmm.
about before, and it was really frustrating to me of the process I had to go through, but at the same time, I'm really grateful because now I know for a fact two things, and that is that your knees and the stability of your knees is so relied upon with your strength and, but more importantly, the mobility of your hips and
Hmm.
your hip flexors, and then also that your body can heal itself. I am just such a firm believer of that. People who have actually, torn their rotator cuff, people who have tore their ACL, MCL, that they've been able to make full recoveries without surgery. And so, like with that, I was, I'm just such a firm believer that someone who now at 34 years old can jump with zero pain, complete 100%. Now, just because of where I'm at with my flexibility and
Hmm.
living the NamaDunk life,
Yep.
that it's just been such a life changer for me. So, watching all these other people that I really look up to, like you, honestly, with
Thank
your,
you.
it's so fun to watch your progress and good days, bad days, and just kind of watch you go through that grind. That I was like, I want to kind of let people know the grind I've been through.
Yeah.
Things that really took a lot out of my time of enjoying jumping. I actually put a lot into with my NamaDunk page on Instagram, the Instagram TV part,
Mm.
because in there, you got more time, so you got
Yep.
more time for videos, and so I've been able to talk about, kind of my horror stories with
Yeah.
that. I had issues actually with my inner calf as well, and I thought it was compartment syndrome, and so like people out there, who are like us, they're just trying to get better as an athlete. They love to jump. They love to dunk. Sometimes they're going to run into stuff. Obviously we see it either firsthand ourselves. I know you wore knee brace for a
Hmm.
little while, and then also with people around us. I'm so proud of actually, our buddy Dallin,
Yeah, man.
because this is his second week in a row that he's knee strap free.
Wow.
And that dude's been rocking 2 knee straps on each knee since I've known him. And it's, he's doing it. And I know it's, he's been getting some help with, there's a doctor dude who on Instagram and stuff, but he's also, getting that mobility right
Hmm.
in his hip flexors. And and it's just that feeling of not needing something.
Of
Yeah,
course. Yeah.
I think that's the big thing.
That was like a big part when I had my knee brace. Like the second I put it on, it like helped, because I had like jumper's knee and it kind of like just was compression. But as soon as I had it on, I'm like, well, I want to get this off as soon as possible. So like every time I went, I would like try without it and just try to like use it to brace because it let me jump. But I never wanted to just have braces because I'm like, if I have this one brace, if something else hurts, am I just gonna keep bracing everything? And it just seemed wrong. Yeah. So
Right?
yeah, it's just like it keeps not. Where does it end? And so for you, when you got that yoga DVD, were you as flexible as you are now, or where were you flexibility wise?
Dude, no. Yeah, like, um, not even close.
That's
And
good.
so,
That's good to hear for me because I'm really poor flexibility wise.
yeah, I could. Um, I honestly think back to even like when I was a kid, and like when you're in elementary school, they had us, in the little gym time, we would sit on the ground and try and bend over and touch our toes,
Hmm.
and I like, there's no way.
Yeah.
I'm like not even halfway down my chin, and then I'm like, ugh!
Yeah.
And then even same thing, and then growing up and being an adult and everything, um, I just was still never really that flexible. In high school, I was a little bit better. I could actually put my knuckles on the ground.
Oh wow.
So the thing is, I've had some relatively flexible hamstrings because honestly, a forward bend,
Hmm.
when you're bending over forward, that means that you've got flexibility in your hamstrings and in your butt, pretty much. And also, not necessarily your lower back, but in your mid back, because it allows you to, kind of bend over.
Mm.
And so, that I'd say that was pretty decent since high school, but my hip mobility was awful, and so I never really knew that and understood it. But like doing, for example, that quad stretch, when I just grab my ankle and bring it under my butt,
Hmm.
I would feel a searing pain on the top of my thigh.
Mm.
Like it seriously felt like something wanted to tear or burn, like right on the top of my thigh. And I was
Right.
like, what the, why? Like, and it didn't really connect to me that it's like, oh, it's because I've got tight hip flexors.
Mm.
And so like, then with that, what I've really kind of just through my own experience and trying things out is kind of fusing and bridging the gap between yoga, because obviously there's like the hardcore yoga, and I'm never going to make anyone like twist into a pretzel.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do stuff that's going to help you where it counts and where it's going to be the most effective, which is going to be in our hip flexors, in our shoulders, and so that you never want to get elbow pain, things like that. And so really it's kind of sticking to the basics, but then incorporating things with a basketball flavor. That's why I'm really excited, because now that I'm getting a little bit of followers,
Hmm.
I'm going to keep doing these NamaDunk
I
challenges.
saw that one. I gotta try that one tomorrow.
Do it,
Yeah,
dude.
it was
So
cool.
good, thanks. And because basically it's being able to do something basic,
Hmm.
but that's I kind of figure that that I'm like, hey, all these people out there, either they're not familiar with yoga or they're starting in a place where you got to start somewhere. I'm not going to be like, all right, let's go with the advanced stuff. Let's go with the basics and let's get everyone, just some more flexibility and um, you know and in their hamstrings and in their lower back, because especially us jumpers, we put so much strain in those areas with whether it's like seated leg curls or deadlifts or squats, that our hamstrings take a toll. And so starting there for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely my like tightest part of my hamstrings and my hips are really bad. But for someone like me that's like it's so hard for me to make progress. I made because when I first started I was even worse. I could like you said halfway down my shins. I was able to like barely touch the floor. I'm still around there. Now I'm like definitely making it more consistent, like trying to stretch every single day, because before it was like on days where I feel sore I make sure of it, and other days I kind of just try to stay mobile. But now since it's kind of like allowing me to get stronger, because if you have more range of motion you hit like more muscles, things like that, I'm really focusing on it, and also just like to stay healthy. But it's like probably the hardest part of my training, honestly, because for me it's like lifting weights, it's heavy, but it's easier for me to like get fired up and push through that. But like I just before this I was doing like a 15-minute yoga, like hips and hamstrings on YouTube, just following along, and I can't even get like halfway into the position. So for someone like me who's like very severely inflexible, how would I kind of start working on the hips and hamstrings without even being able to get into the position?
And that's awesome that you actually brought that up, because I do have a full warrior series on my Instagram TV. But obviously, that when you're getting into a full warrior one, which is a basic yoga pose, but if you have no range of motion, you're going to be freaking high on that thing. Like, here, I'll even scoot this back a little. Sure. Like, you're going to be like freaking, not that's even
like it's almost like a lunge,
instead of where you need to be.
Right.
And it's like, with that, there's so many alterations that that's going to be one of the next videos I make, because there are ways for us to kind of force ourselves into those poses. One of the ways is actually using stairs or a box, or something that's relatively high. Because obviously when we're able to really force our foot in a resting position that's relatively high, that's going to force our back foot as we gradually bring that out.
Just thinking about it, it's painful.
Prepare yourself, Steven.
Yeah, for sure, man. And so when you say like force yourself in the position, obviously you want to be careful, but like say I'm doing that, because I'm okay with doing that, but like even today, like trying to hold a position was so rough. Would you just say, but is there like a certain time limit I want to go for, like shoot for like 90 seconds or something like that?
No, dude, it's seriously, it's something where you go as low as you can, and right as soon as your body, that's what's part of the magic of NamaDunk, is understanding how to really listen to your body, and your body will just tell you no.
Yeah.
And when it does, you need to understand and respect and listen to that. So there will be times for me where I will be in a pose and I will literally fall over. I'll just fall to the side. And it's because your body's like, nope, you're done.
Yeah.
And so so it's the same thing where it's like you get in that pose the best you can, but right as soon as you're like, oh, I'm done, then that's it. But you know what? Try again. And it's like, and it doesn't even have to be, oh, let me get right back into it. It can be, give myself a few minutes, then try again. But then, like for me, it's not like I do yoga every day. Honestly, I'm not saying for these people, hey, to live the NamaDunk life where you don't need to be like super hardcore and just be doing sun salutations every morning and like all this stuff before you go to bed. Like instead it's a way to understand how you're feeling, understand your flexibility limits that you currently have, and just kind of following along with the content I put out, hopefully to get people where they need to be. So it's good.
That's good, man. I'm looking forward to like getting more consistent and following along, because it's been rough, because it's like I try to push and try to like it's hard for me to because like with lifting it's very easy, right? You have a number, you just have an amount of reps and you just try to hit that next number. But for stretching, it's like I just try to reach further, and it's like it's hard, especially because I've had people like personal trainers kind of help stretch me out, and it's like someone's pushing on my back to try to get me deeper in the position or stuff like that, and it's like it's hard to do it. It's like interesting to not be able to do it myself, or just not really know how far I should push myself by myself.
Yeah, no, and that's the cool thing about yoga is obviously there's going to be different variations of a pose, and so with that, like I just put out, for example, my video of just that rotating stretch with a basketball and using a basketball as a yoga block. Seriously, being able to use either a basketball as something you can actually put weight into your hand, that weight will then take weight out of your legs and areas that you're really trying to force down, and so that can allow you to ease into it, find that balance between. So that's what it's really nice to show, variations and progressions of different poses, and that really gives me, some good, light bulbs here of being able to incorporate that for people like yourself. And, start different.
So for me, like I know for jumping wise, like that's kind of why I stopped trying to get flexible, because I learned from some people it's like kind of not the worst thing to have tight muscles because it's like an explosive movement. You don't want to be super. And I actually kind of had experience of that firsthand. I was hitting the sauna like too often, like 2 to 3 times a week, and sometimes like the night before a dunk session. And I actually felt like the best I've ever felt, like joint wise and flexibility wise. But I honestly felt like I had no explosion. Like I was fast, but like I felt like I had no power in my legs. So I know it's not really good to like maybe hit the sauna right before you dunk, but stretching, would you assume would go like after a dunk session as well, or what's the timing with that?
Exactly. So that's so huge is, the main goal with stretching, and I kind of explain this in the YouTube video I have on my page, is, is actually to lengthen your muscles. And that when you lengthen your muscles, it is a scientific fact that you're going to create little micro tears. So
Okay.
I just like that. So as a representation of
Yeah.
that, but obviously you don't want to do this and then try and lift, or the fact is that even doing this when you're cold
Mm-hmm.
can actually cause damage.
Mm.
And so you don't want to do that. And so that's why I have, dynamic movements that I do before I lift or before I jump that are not static. It's, things like the sun salutation where it's a constant moving flow,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't make your muscles, be in one position for too long that you're getting a full stretch. Instead, you're just warming up for the jumps,
For
baby.
sure, man. And then like, so I dunked today and I stretched like right after I finished. But then like, since it was early in the morning, like just later this night, I'm like, I was like really into it. And I was like, I went back to the apartment gym and just stretched more. Is there like too much I can do, or is that fine?
Dude, no, that's great. Honestly, I love, stretching any chance I get that where I'm not going to be right before
Yeah.
something. So, like one of my favorite things to do is actually like before I go to bed is I will do a quick twist here and get my lower back feeling right. And then also kind of that same thing like I mentioned earlier with using the height of a box or a platform. My bed's pretty high, so by putting my foot up there, I can really let my hips sink
Mm.
on the other side, and I'll just do that for like 10 seconds on each side. And
Mm.
it's just a little something nice to make me feel good before heading off to
Yeah.
dreamland.
Speaking of dreamland, that's a good segue. But before I get there, for me, it's like I feel like since I'm so inflexible, I just need to be doing it like twice a day. Not like before a dunk session, but like it just feels like I tighten up so quick just because I'm so inflexible. That's my body like wants to be like. So I have to kind of like reverse that. But anyway, speaking of dreamland, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, just with that, and that's one thing. Actually, I do have an episode on my Instagram TV about too. Is that tightness. We've got our muscles, but of course, what's on top of that, between our muscles and our skin, is the glorious fascia that we all have to work with, and we got to work with it and not against it. And so that means giving it a little
For
beat
sure.
down every and showing it who's boss. So that really helps to feel, to loosen up anything of that tightness for sure.
That's cool, man. And when you say things like it seems like you really understand like the makeup of the body. Like I kind of get it, but way more of like a broad general view. Did you like study all this because you just wanted to heal yourself, or was it just an interest before that, or how did that come about?
It was all from interest of myself. I've just felt like, honestly, and I know that this isn't for everybody's experience, but so I'm not going to say like, oh, sports medicine doctors are the devil, Bobby Boucher,
Yeah.
because that's um, I'm sure there's some great ones out there. In my experience, it's been really frustrating. Things were so vague and things didn't really make sense to me. And so I did feel like I had to just, all right, as you got to, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself, kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So I just had to do a lot of reading, so much studying, and it just kind of made sense. So
Do you have any favorite books you'd recommend for like body or body health, anything like that?
You know, really, it's there's just a lot of content online. I'm
Yeah.
not like a big bookworm as much as I am just like perusing the interwebs.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, you know, there's so much that I've found through forums, through actually bodybuilding.com, through actually working with athletes, that actually aren't, basketball athletes, but people who are, just in that field. So actually fitness models, things like that. Kind of cool working with Erin Stern, who's a big time, she like does like the whole Olympia and stuff.
Mm.
I worked with her with my work for a little while, and we got to talk about, that because she actually did high jump back in the day.
Oh,
So
cool.
she talked about that jump life,
Yeah.
and she actually helped me understand a little bit about the hips as well, and just some tips and tricks, and so really just there's so much online
Yeah,
of what
that's
we're.
that's how I find like everything as well. Um, Back to Dreamland. Do you have like a mindset or like anything with like breathing that you go about? Because I know that's kind of big in yoga. I wanted to like hear your take on it.
Oh, for sure. One thing I did is like with my last job is actually I taught a yoga class
Oh, cool.
to all the people who wanted to get in on that twice a week. And so it wasn't like the NamaDunk yoga; it was more traditional. And but of course, with that, we got the music going
Mm-hmm.
with the Indian flutes and
Mm-hmm.
the birds, chirping or whatever, and that's nice. The whole thing about it is clearing your mind, and so that's why when you go to a yoga class, especially like a formal one, you're going to get like some type of relaxing music. It's kind of like the same stuff you hear like if you go to a place to get a massage or
Mm-hmm.
something. And like the whole point of that is clearing your mind. And you can, I can do it without music. So I actually don't listen to anything when I'm doing like a full warrior series after, a good leg day. But I will clear my mind. And to clear your mind means that you're not thinking about what's going on after you're stretching. You're not thinking about what you did before going, before you're stretching. You're just focused on the stretch you're doing so that you can listen to your body and listen to all the different ways that it reacts to move basically to those positions that you're putting it in. Because it's cool. There's tweaks that I'll do seriously when I'm in a basic pose like a runner's pose,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically like being ready to take off for a track meet where you're like this kind of thing, but your
Yeah.
back legs extended, and like I'll end up in that pose like for a good like 15 minutes, and I'll actually go on the inside
Jeez.
and you feel like you can like twist your knee out so that you're getting like the outside of your hip, and it's like it's wild, man, because you can really get that connection, and when you feel that of like, oh, I need to do this so I can loosen the outside of my hip
Mm-hmm.
because when I'm jumping my knees are doing this, or and that kind of thing, and like and it just all kind of like clicks when you're
Right.
just those motions.
That's really cool, man. I can't wait to make some progress because right now it's like everything seems not connected and also just like so difficult. Like just in it's like I'm trying to lift as well, so like I need to get those hips looser so I can get like a actual squat form because right now I'm using like plates under my feet to be able to like get deep enough in the squat, and
Hmm?
I'm just pumped for it. Um,
Oh,
yeah. Do you do any meditation as well, just in your life or anything like that?
yeah, it's really important to have time to yourself of just focusing on your goals.
Mm-hmm.
For me, physically, it's I still love to jump and I still love to dunk, and but I'm on obviously just like all of us, not happy with where
Mm-hmm.
I'm at with my vertical, and I want it to get better. So I will take time to just for myself, and not like watching like old videos or anything, but just think of what am I currently doing, how does it feel, what do I feel like I could improve, and and so I think it's so important for us to really be able to step back from whatever situation we're in and kind of just like look at it like from an outward perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think, that's kind of the main goal with meditation is, you know, getting that outside view, and then also being able to feel like you can then go back into whatever it is with, you know, a renewed feeling of sound mind. Honestly, like how many reps of squats have we done in our life already,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing, if you take a step back and then go hit it again, the next time around, it's just cool. Like, it just feels like it's a new experience again. You want to challenge yourself. You want to get, put on more weight. You want to put it up faster, whatever that your goal is of that time. And, those are things that if you're just getting in that cycle,
Right.
you're gonna plateau so fast.
Yeah. So just kind of going back to when you first started yoga, like when you saw that DVD, I know it's like that old style, whatever. Was yoga like something that always interested you, or you just kind of had that DVD and you were just trying something new?
Yeah, I was trying something new.
Yeah.
Like, I seriously had no clue what yoga was about, because with it was, from what I saw at that time and everything, it's like, and what I knew of it was like, it was these ladies in like leotards,
Mm-hmm.
like wrapping themselves up in pretzels and
Yep.
being able to put feet behind their head, and it was like, why?
Uh-huh.
But then when you actually understand, what it is and how it's being in a position and what that position's for, which is, okay, I'm doing this because it's going to open up, this, and having that type of understanding with it, then you get a different perspective of yoga. And then it's like, oh, I've never seen a yoga person wear a knee brace before.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen, it's
Yep.
like, and I've never seen a yoga person with KT tape, or,
Yep.
like, because they don't need it.
Right. That's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
they woke, I guess you could
Yep.
say.
So after doing that, when it helped, did you kind of just love yoga from its ability to help your like body and your health, or was it like a new experience where it's like a passionate type of thing, like you're just like, oh, this is amazing, I want to like share this passionate experience with other people?
Yeah, it was really, I guess, kind of a combination of both. I fell in love with the results more than the actual movements at first, because honestly, in that DVD that I had, it was cool because it had two different types of yoga. It
Mm-hmm.
has one where it's called vinyasa yoga, which basically means that you're just constantly going from one pose to the next, and it's actually used as an aerobic exercise.
Oh,
So
wow.
a form of aerobic exercise, and so you're getting in this stuff, and you're kind of like doing the elbows
Yeah.
and getting your Tai Chi poses and all this goofiness. And so I'm like, but then afterwards I'd be like, oh, I feel all right.
Yeah.
And so, and then the part two of it was the static, and then you'd get into something and you'd hold it. And then from that, you'd, make your alterations.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, and that's really the side that I just really gravitated to, because I knew that that's what allowed me to focus in on, the inside of my knee hurts right now. Why is that? And then like you get into a pose and then understand,
Wow.
just how to really make it work for you to fix whatever problem you're having.
So now do you have a favorite, or do you kind of just go with what your body needs?
I've got some basics for me, just because being a 1 foot guy, we rely so heavily on the posterior chain,
Mm-hmm.
which means, I've got to keep my calves, hamstrings, and butt and lower back all in check. So the cool thing about that is those are all pretty much handled in a sun salutation.
Nice.
And then when you're doing like a warrior series, I also focus so much on my hip flexors, just because I knew that that's what was my primary reason for tendonitis and for knee issues was my hip flexors. And so keeping those as the basics. But then, sometimes I'll get my arms going with different things and different yoga poses with that as well. Because really, it is such a whole body, centered practice. It's not something that I need to do just Warrior 3 today.
Yeah.
You kind of go through the whole spiel, because if you don't, you might feel like you're missing something. So
Right.
it's worth.
Is there a specific yoga that's good for specifically hips and hamstrings, a routine that I could follow ASAP?
Dude, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. So you need to, on my Instagram TV.
Yes.
I don't know. Have you seen? I've got the Warrior Series breakdown. It's 2 parts.
I saw it, but I did not watch the whole thing.
Hey, dude,
That one? I'll be watching it on repeat every day.
Pretty basic.
Awesome.
And the thing that's nice about it is really you can use stuff for balance. So if you're doing it at home, you can use a wall, to kind of keep your balance. So if you want to fall, if you feel like you're going to fall, but that is such a huge little nugget, I think, for the dunk world, is if we all did our Warrior Series, we would all be so happy.
I'm gonna be doing it, if maybe daily. I don't know how much energy I have, but I'm gonna be doing it very often. Do you have any?
I wanted to mention with that, Steve, is because like you said, you don't want to do it every day.
Oh yeah.
Like what I do that I just think is so huge for all of us is a recovery day, and there's a difference between recovery day and a day that you don't do anything.
Yeah.
So Sunday is a day I don't do anything. I'm not going to be at a gym. I'm not even going to be stretching. I'm not going to do a dang thing. But then for me, generally it's Thursday, but depending on my weekends, I might rearrange it. And on that day, I will do some serious yoga. And I'm also going to roll out. But, that's obviously just one day of my week. So, it's nice because obviously if you feel like you want to get to a certain point, yeah, maybe you're going to want to do it more often. But once you feel like you've reached a certain level of your flexibility, it's something that's like, I'm going to set aside this one day and it's going to be awesome. But you don't feel like, I need to do this every day or else.
Can't wait to make that switch. Do you ever have any experiences with hot yoga?
Hot yoga. I did do it once. It's very hot.
I've tried that too.
Dude, what did you think?
I liked it, but it did feel like a full workout. Like it did not, like you were saying with the vinyasa, it didn't feel like a stretch or a recovery. It felt like a real workout. So me being like dunking as my priority, I didn't really find time to, because I actually really liked it. Like if I wasn't dunking and I was all about just like working out, I would love to have that once or twice a week. But there was like, it didn't feel like there was a good time for me to do it, because say I lift one day and have a rest day where I do like a light stretching, is like if I did yoga that day, it just felt like it would, one, work me out too hard and I wouldn't like conserve any energy, and then the next day my workout for dunking would not be as good as it could be. And two is like I felt like too loose. Not that I got like flexible to the point where I was like happy with my flexibility, but like since I was stretching for so much, it felt like you were saying, those micro tears, it was just like stretching me out too much for like to work out the next day. So if I could fit it in, I would love it. But that's how I thought about it.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely how there are different levels with it, and that's what I think is kind of nice about like the NamaDunk approach, is that really it's yoga that's focused on your recovery and allowing your body to heal properly. So it's not about, hey, do this to get in, get all sweaty and whatever, as far as I'm going to use this to burn 1,000 calories. That's not what it's for. Instead, this is, hey, I'm allowing my body to rest properly because it's in a position where it can heal itself because of what it has just been through, and so that you can just keep getting better every day.
That's nice, man. I definitely feel like I need that, and then I also need a day, like you were saying, your recovery day. I need a day that's more like, okay, we're gonna use this as like a stretch workout, because I don't see. I definitely need a day to push myself in lengthwise, because if it's the way I'm doing it, I feel good, like nothing hurts, and I feel like if I didn't do the stretching I was doing now, I'd be like in pain because sometimes I wake up a little tighter than other days and I stretch enough, but I definitely want to get more flexible.
Yeah. Where do you usually feel tighter?
It's always my hips and my hamstrings, like just like leaning over and like one time I had this trainer. He was at a gym that my dad went to, and I've never talked to a trainer. This was years ago, and I was dunking, and like my flexibility was so bad. My dad's was so bad. Like he never stretched or anything like that. That's where I got it from, because we did a lot of weightlifting when I was young, which is just like the basics. Like when I first started working out, I was doing full body and squats, and I got strong, but this is what the trainer told me, which was very interesting, because when he stretched me out one day, like he kind of just did like a test on my body. He like laid me down, lifted up my arms, lifted up my legs, just like from a laying position. And he said that my body was like two different people because my upper body was so flexible, like more than average, and my lower body was beyond inflexible. So,
Whoa.
and what he said, because he could see like I had some muscle, was that when you do upper body and you get sore, the next day you're going to school, you're doing things, you're moving your body. So if you do chest really hard, you do back really hard, you're using your upper body and moving it. So that strength, even though it's sore, you did a full range of motion with the workout, and then the next day you're moving full range of motion. So that soreness just you get more and more flexible from that. But the legs, if you don't specifically stretch them, they get tighter and tighter with that soreness. So I would lift heavy squats and get like super sore legs, and then I wanted them to recover, so the next day I'd be like sitting and like not running around because I was like, I don't want to work these legs out anymore, and I wasn't stretching. So like they would get sore, and then they would sit still, and then it would just like coagulate, I guess, and just get more and more tight. So that's what he said was probably the problem, because I had like big thick quads and like strong hamstrings, but they were just so that's where I dug myself a hole, and now I'm trying to get out of it.
Go.
Yeah,
that's the thing, man. That's what's tough, is a lot of us, especially you grow up and you get a job, and then you have to, I'm at a desk all day.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're sitting in a desk all day, it's so easy for those hip flexors to just
yeah,
like, oh, here we go. And
yep.
So absolutely, that's why it's so important to keep that mobility, for sure.
Yeah, that's funny. I do the same thing. I sit at the desk all day. I do love what I've been doing lately is, even though I don't have that long for lunch, I can shoot over to the gym and just do like a 20-minute stretching. That's what I've been doing because it feels great. And then I don't have to go after work because then it's like no traffic and it's not crowded. It's been great. So I'm definitely going to try to get a good stretch routine going there. But that's been really helpful.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get that work series going, Steve.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. And it's just it's hard for me right now to see myself as like fully flexible, like you said, like maybe hands on the ground and like full squat position, but it's definitely making progress now just because I've been more consistent in pushing. But I'm just excited to learn more and hopefully look back on this as just like my first dunk day where I was like just touching rim, and hopefully that this is like another journey. I literally posted a video today about my dunk session today, and like the beginning of it was me stretching as like to show like the before of like how bad it is, because like I was like, I want to document this because I've had it in other clips, but I want to like have an actual documentation of me trying to touch my toes, trying to like stretch my hamstring and just see how bad it is, so I can hopefully look back on it with a flexible body.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's for sure. That's awesome, because it's something where, especially with this stuff, practice makes perfect, just like everything. So what you got to do is just, you got to have that patience, the same patience you have for when you're on your journey to your first dunk. It's the same patience trying to be able to do a Warrior 2 without falling over.
Yeah. Stretching, man, is probably the hardest part of my training. Even if I lift hard, I jump 100 times. It's like, stretching's been the hardest part. It just hurts the most. It's like, and it's also mental. It's like, it's so hard for me it's easy for me to do like quick bursts of things, like a dynamic warm up or like jumping and sprints. But like the long game of like holding a position my brain goes crazy. So hard. Yeah. All right, man. Well, I'll let you go for now, but is there anything? So NamaDunk, you have IGTV. I'm definitely going to be checking those out. Are you going to be posting on YouTube at all?
No, so I want to For right now, I think I'm just gonna kind of stay on the Instagram.
That's cool
and,
to have it all in one place, man. I love that.
Yeah, thanks. So, and with that, kind of a big thing I did want to announce is, with you, of course, is that we're actually officially the NamaDunk tank is on sale.
Yes.
So get in on that movement for everyone who's listening.
These are actually awesome. Like, I didn't realize how, like, when I saw yours, I thought it was just like kind of like the ones I have. It's just like tank tops, but these are like jerseys. These are like super comfortable.
Buddy.
They're crazy, dude. What I like about it is that it reminds me to stretch, obviously, but also it's like when I go stretch, I like to wear because I have some shorts that are a little tighter, but I like to wear my loosest or stretchable material to get me in that mindset to stretch. So this is like perfect for that.
Yeah, see, and that's what's great about this stuff is, it is. It's not just cool looking, but actually it is like a high quality fabric that does stretch.
Super nice.
It's longer, so your tummy's not going to be showing when you're doing all your stretches. When you're jumping. That's why I love to dunk in these. And they're on sale now. They're $30 a piece. And I'm actually just taking orders where people just hit me up on Instagram.
DMs? Like just in the messages?
Slide into my DM.
Yep. Awesome, man. Well, great talking to you. I hopefully have you back on when I'm flexible and we can talk more about it and where NamaDunk goes. I'm excited for it, man. Thanks for the time.
Hey, thank you so much. I love Dunk Life.
Thanks, Clint. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. See you, Steve.
Oh, that's the anthem right there. Tried to make an intro, ended up making an anthem.